You guys are in for a treat. I am creating a 3D element to go on this cup. I'm obsessed over bows right now. I love the whole Coquette thing. I've always been a big girly girl at heart, and I'm very happy that this whole trend is popping off right now because it's very girly, and I'm obsessed with it. So first things first, we are going to be using a 30-ounce straight hog tumbler. I already decided that I wanted to just do a split here because I am going to be glittering the other side of it. I knew I wanted a good, happy, bubbly pink glitter, but I didn't want the whole cup to be glittered. And the one thing I can't stand, if you like doing this and you have no problem doing this, that's fine. I cannot cover my glitter, okay? I can't do a peekaboo. I hate doing peekaboos because it always breaks my heart to have to cover the glitter. I mean, what's the point, right? Just split it and tape it off and then glitter that part. So we're gonna wrap and then we're gonna glitter. We're not gonna glitter first and then wrap it with the vinyl, because then we're wasting glitter. Once I have trimmed off my edges, I just take it to my tumbler. Then I use my squeegee to just kind of wrap it around. Now the other exposed side of this tumbler is going to be covered in glitter. Trim off my edges. I like to leave a little bit of steel exposed at the top and a little bit of steel exposed at the bottom. It just kind of looks better to me if I can just have a solid wraparound of the color on the edges of that. So that's what I did. I taped it off with my masking tape here, and then I whipped out some Maybe. I never put glitter down on raw stainless steel. I don't know. I always feel like you use more of your product to get your desired color. It kind of mutes the color. I don't do that. I want to get the most out of my color, so I will put down a base. And in this case, I used pink. It's not a acrylic paint. It's a water-based priming paint. So this stuff is perfect. I use this stuff for just about all my tumblers because it will bond to your cup. It's not going to peel off. You can't scratch it off. It's not coming off. So once you put this down and it fully cures to your cup, you're good to go. This is a good time for me to talk about the priming paints. We're going into a fall and winter season here. If you are not stocked up on your priming paints, I cannot stress this enough. Nobody wants to go freeze their kolaches outside because they have to go spray paint, okay? Don't do that. No. Whip out your priming paints and prime your cups ahead of time. These are not acrylic paints. These are priming paints, which means they are going to bond to the steel of your cup. So if you like to base coat your cups ahead of time, this is perfect for you. No need to go outside, no need to spray paint. This is the answer right here. Okay, once I have base coated my cup in my Maybe, I come in with my epoxy because I'm going to throw some glitter down. I know usually you see me using my Tack It or some kind of adhesive. Rarely do I use my epoxy. Well, for this one right here, I wanted it to have a very thick hold on this glitter. I'm not going to burnish it. I want to make sure that it's going to really grab onto that glitter. So I'm going to put down a thin coat of my epoxy and use that for my glue. I am using my Fast Cure Blend Sisters epoxy. So here's my philosophy on it. Whenever I use the epoxy, I feel that it soaks up more glitter because it's a thicker consistency and it is a heavier product. I feel that when you put your glitter down, it's going to soak up more of that glitter. So you're going to get more of the glitter coverage versus if I were to just put some, Tack It down or a thin glue. I feel that the thin glue will kind of hold onto it, but it will give it a sheer. It's not going to hold onto as much. Versus if I put down my epoxy, I'm not going to burnish it. I want it to be thick. I want it to be bushy. I want it to be full. I want it to have lots and lots and lots of glitter. So that is why I chose the epoxy method. A thicker glitter coverage is what the doctor ordered. I take it out. I give it its coat of epoxy. Come back. We have our first epoxy coat finished. It's cured. Now I'm going to stripe out my edges. I'm going to take this beautiful chrome vinyl, and rarely do I use silver or silver chrome. Usually I'm a gold girl, or at times a rose gold girl. But in this instance, I really wanted that silver to just kind of pop. You know, I wanted it to stand apart. I wanted it to have a cool effect versus a warm effect. So I trimmed little strips here. It is easier if you can take a full sheet and send it through your machine and you can just have a bunch of strips cut, but I'm lazy and I'm very impulsive and spontaneous. So I just grab it and I just rip it right on my hand trimmer. I do my top and my bottom, and of course I'm gonna use my lazy girl method of sealing just the stripes here. I heard from someone that they told me that they used their nail polish to seal their edges and it turned yellow. Knock on wood, that has not happened to me yet, but I think that it probably has to do with the quality of your clear nail polish. Okay, so if you have a UV protected, clear, high quality nail polish, you probably won't run into that problem. You work hard on these, you know, you put a lot of time into these cups. So the last thing you want is something like yellow nail polish showing through on your white. Ooh, that'd be awful. Lucky for me, that has not happened yet. But I'm going to keep a close eye on them to make sure that that doesn't happen. I will report if it does. In the meantime, I think I can get away with it right here because if it is, it's a little subtle and it's already on pink, so it can just play into those warm tones. So yeah, moving on. And it was about this time where I decided, okay, we're gonna do it. We're gonna make a bow out of polymer clay. I kind of pulled my ribbon making skills, my bow making skills from years ago, back when I was making bows for my daughter. And I said, well, I could probably apply those same techniques to the clay, right? So let's roll this clay out. And I have my pasta roller on the thinnest setting, and I stretch out this long snake-like ribbon of clay. And then I'm going to make this in 3 parts. It's going to be the bow, the ribbon, and then it's going to be the wraparound tie that kind of hides all of those seams. I took my clay and I folded in, and the bottom part, I just did a pinch. Okay, so far, so good. And then I join my bow and my bottom little ribbon legs together. And then I take my tie and I just tie it right over, and I smooth it out and I mold it and stuff like that. And I place it on a cup. This cup right here that I'm placing it on is my sculpting cup. I have a cup of every size for this purpose only. This is just a cup for baking. For something this size, I set my oven to about 250 degrees, and I leave in there for about 10-15 minutes, okay? Because I don't want it to be completely hard, but I also don't want it to be raw still. You can always pop it back in there if it's not fully cured. So 250 degrees for 15 minutes, that was perfect for me. Once it comes out of the oven, be careful, it's gonna be very hot. It's still gonna be a little flimsy like it's raw, but trust me, as soon as it starts to cool, you're gonna see that it gets firm and then it's gonna be cured. As soon as I brought it out of the oven, I noticed that the color was a little bit darker, and that's normal. An easy fix is let's just go ahead and let's color it with some paint, and let's see where we go from there. All right, let's go to the handle. Handle part was super easy. I have a video on how I apply the handles to my tumblers. I did paint this because this is a 3D print, and I don't want the lines from the print showing. So I filled in some of those lines with some of my acrylic paint, and then I used some of my UV resin to be the adhesive for this glitter. I went with a white glitter. I want to say this is Stellar. That is my super fine white glitter. I threw that down, and then I came in to fill in some of those spots with some of this kind of darker, grayer tone white. Now, the big fumble, okay? I place my handle down. Then, look what happened. Crack. The whole ribbon cracks. Now, in a split second, I'm panicking, okay? But then I was like, wait a minute, this is clay. I'll just clay this back together, right? So that's what I did. Nobody will ever know. I placed my handle with some glue. I'm going to be covering it, so I don't really pay too much attention to the edges of the handle and where it's touching the cup. I'm going to cover that up with the bow. But once I have that bow placed down with my glue, I have to come back in here and I have to remold that broken piece to the bow. Okay, how am I going to do that? I'm going to be using my Epoxy Sculpt, and we're going to just carefully place all of these little pieces back together. And you can see me kind of messing with it a little bit. It took me a while to get this back to where I liked it, but I kind of smoothed it all out and I played with it and I played with it and I got it as best as I could. And then said, okay, I'm gonna come back in here, and then once this is all cured and everything, because this Epoxy Sculpt, once it cures, it is like solid. It's rock hard. You're not gonna break it. Once it's cured, I'll come back in here and I'll repaint the whole thing all over again. And then I can always just cover it with some glitter. Glitter fixes everything. No one will ever know, okay? Sure enough, I came back in with a darker shade of pink and I polished it up with that, and it was perfect. It was beautiful. I did a little bit of touches here with some white on my handle. And once I glittered it, it was perfect. Now, I don't have any footage of me glittering it because I did it live on a TikTok. I forgot to push record when I was doing the glitter part, but everybody was cheering me on, telling me that no one will ever know. Sure enough, when I put it down, I used some epoxy and I threw my pink glitter down on there. I used a fine brush to apply my epoxy on there because I only wanted to glitter the bow with this pink glitter. So I used a fine brush, disposable brush, and I got in all the little crevices and I threw my glitter down, and when I banged all the excess off and I looked at it, it was flawless. You couldn't tell. You couldn't see the creases. You couldn't see the cracks. You had no idea that this little flimsy little guy popped off, you know? So when in doubt, use Epoxy Sculpt. It's cute. It's pretty. I love it. I hope you love it too. Get your handle from Tumbler Shields, and then this pink and this bow vinyl you can find in my store. I will be linking all of those below. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Join me this Friday for another Fall Friday tutorial. All throughout the month of August, September, and some of October, I will be creating fall-inspired tutorials. It'll range from cups all the way to home decor. Real quick, did you guys know that I have a craft subscription? I have a creative kit subscription, and it is mainly tailored to tumbler making and cup making. It is a cohesive collection of glitters and vinyl and powders, paints. It follows a theme and it comes once a month. Head on over to the site. I will link that down in the bottom. Please, please, please let me know how you like this video. If you have any questions, I will help as best as I can. Please leave your comments below, like and subscribe, and I will be seeing you guys